In the next few minutes, you're going to watch a place the ancients built for the sun vanish, reappear, and then shock us with what it was really used for. Buried in sand south of Cairo, archaeologists have exposed a missing piece of Egypt's solar religion, a 4,400-year-old sun temple complex tied to King Nyuserre, a Fifth Dynasty pharaoh who didn't just worship Ra, he engineered the landscape to meet him. Here's the twist. This isn't a brand new site. It's a forgotten lower temple, what researchers call a valley temple, that early excavators glimpsed more than a century ago and then abandoned when groundwater made deeper work impossible. Now, with renewed digging at Abu Ghurab in the wider Abu Sir necropolis, the stone is speaking again, and more than half of the structure has emerged. Step into the entrance and you hit the first jolt, a columned portico, designed not for privacy, but for procession. Movement, rhythm, bodies, offerings. This wasn't a small shrine tucked away for priests. It was a public threshold, a stage where the king's cult could be seen. And right there, at the boundary between river world and desert world, archaeologists found a massive stone threshold carved with a public calendar, a running list of festivals and sacred days. Imagine arriving not to a blank wall, but the layout hints at something even bolder. The Valley Temple wasn't the destination, it was the gateway. From here, a causeway once climbed toward an upper temple on higher ground, an ascent that turned geography into theology. Nile edge to desert plateau, human realm to sun realm. Every step upward was a message. The king controls access to the god who powers the sky. Then comes another surprise, cut into the plan like a secret, a staircase leading to the roof. Roof access in a ritual complex isn't just practical, it's symbolic. From above, priests could time ceremonies to the sky itself, tracking sunrise angles and seasonal change. In a culture where the sun's path defined life and death, the roof may have doubled as an observatory, an interface between stone and cosmos. Nyuserre's name keeps surfacing on blocks and inscriptions like a signature pressed into the project. That matters because Fifth Dynasty sun temples are rare. Only a few are known, and each is a clue to a moment when pharaohs were tying legitimacy to Ra, not only with pyramids, but with entire solar complexes built to ritualize light. And the most unsettling detail is what happened after the sacred stopped being sacred. As the Old Kingdom waned and Egypt's politics fractured, this solar complex didn't simply collapse, it was reused, lived in. The excavators are finding evidence of later occupation, pottery that spans centuries, and even wooden pieces from the board game Senate, a game bound up with fate and the afterlife. Think about that. A temple built to reach the sun, God becomes, generations later, a place where people cook, store goods, argue, and play. Look at where it sits. Abu Sir lies between the celebrity monuments of Giza and the royal cemeteries of Saqqara, close enough to the capital's nerve centers to matter, but far enough to carve out a distinct sacred zone. In the Fifth Dynasty, sunlight becomes policy. Ra isn't just a god in the sky, he's an argument on the ground. Under collapsed debris, the team is recovering finely carved limestone fragments, doorway pieces, cornices, and architectural blocks that once choreographed movement like a stage set. Even the exposed portion is vast, and it reads like a system. Arrive by river, assemble in the Valley Temple, begin the procession, then climb toward the upper sanctuary. That festival calendar is the clearest proof. It doesn't just list holy days, it organizes society. A calendar carved in stone is basically a commandment with dates attached. This is when the community moves. This is when offerings are demanded. This is when the king's order becomes visible. One slab in particular reads like a bulletin board for the living. The carved schedule references festivals for Saqqara, Min, and Ra, names that meant crowds, incense, meat, beer, and music. It suggests the temple wasn't isolated, it synchronized people. And it also solves an old frustration in Egyptology. In 1901, the German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt reached this lower area and had to stop as groundwater flooded the trenches. The architecture was sketched, then effectively lost. with excavations restarting in 2024 under the Italian mission co-directed by Massimiliano Nuzzolo and Rosanna Pirelli. Modern drainage, mapping and patience are finally revealing the Valley Temple's full footprint, already over 1,000 square meters of exposed remains. And this is only the beginning of the plan. And then there are the objects that shouldn't be here if this place were only ceremonial. Everyday ceramics, repairs, reworked spaces, signs that once the cult machinery slowed, people adapted the ruins instead of abandoning them. Some pottery dates to the first intermediate period, when central authority weakened and local survival took over. The shift is etched into the ground. The moment a site designed for cosmic order becomes shelter and home. So why does this discovery matter right now? Because it fills a gap in how we understand power in the Old Kingdom. Pyramids dominate the skyline, but temples like this ran the calendar, fed the priesthood, moved goods, and staged the king's relationship with the universe. The Valley Temple, positioned near the Nile, was the logistical heart, where offerings arrived, where processions began, where the sacred journey was launched. And the story is still incomplete. What's been uncovered is a map to what remains. More chambers, more inscriptions, more evidence of how a solar cult actually functioned on the ground. Each season of excavation can revise the Fifth Dynasty, Nyuserre's ambitions, the politics of sunlight, and the way ancient Egypt built religion into roads, walls, and time itself. But while archaeologists are uncovering Egypt's history by digging downward into the sands, other discoveries are being made by pushing through spaces never meant for human entry. In our next investigation, explorers squeeze through a tunnel barely 20 inches wide, only to emerge into a hidden chamber large enough to hold a monument. And what they found inside raises new questions about how much of the ancient world is still sealed away. Explorers have uncovered something extraordinary. A hidden chamber so vast and precise that it could hold a monument inside it. The discovery began with a narrow passage, barely 20 inches high, too small for a person to stand, barely wide enough to crawl through. It wound its way under ancient stone, twisting through the bedrock of Saqqara. No one expected what lay at the end. An enormous subterranean room, perfectly carved, untouched for thousands of years, and eerily similar to the mysterious, unfinished chambers beneath Egypt's oldest pyramids. For decades, Egyptologists have known that Saqqara, home to the step pyramid of Nyuserre, hides one of the most complex underground networks ever constructed. What most people see above ground is only a fraction of what exists below. Beneath the pyramid lies a labyrinth stretching over 5 kilometers, filled with tunnels, galleries, and shafts cut deep into solid limestone. Many of these passageways are so small that early explorers had to crawl on their stomachs to reach the lower levels. And even today, some remain completely uncharted. The latest discovery was made near the base of Djoser's pyramid, in a section of the necropolis long thought to be fully mapped. A team from Cairo University, using ground-penetrating radar, detected an anomaly beneath the known corridors. A cavity the size of a small temple, hidden behind meters of solid rock. The only access point was a narrow tunnel, less than 2 feet high, sealed with centuries of debris. When archaeologists finally squeezed through, they emerged into a chamber unlike any ever documented in the complex. The room measured nearly 30 meters long, supported by massive pillars carved directly from the bedrock. The walls bore no inscriptions, no paintings, no trace of human decoration, only precision. Smooth, symmetrical, and geometrically aligned, the chamber's surfaces appeared to have been shaped by methods far more advanced than those known from Egypt's Third Dynasty. Its sheer size and isolation led researchers to nickname it the Hall of Echoes, because even the faintest whisper resonated across the stone like a low vibration. What was this immense subterranean room for? To understand, we have to look at Egypt's other underground enigmas. The unfinished chamber beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, the hidden galleries of Saqqara, and the secret storage vaults under Abydos. All share one crucial feature. They were carved directly into the earth, not built from blocks above ground. And in every case, their purpose remains uncertain. At Giza, far below the Great Pyramid, lies a rough-hewn cavern often called the Subterranean Chamber. It's accessible only through a steep descending passage that drops 90 feet into the bedrock. Egyptologists believe it was abandoned before completion, but some researchers argue otherwise. The chamber aligns with natural fissures and groundwater channels, a design feature echoed at Djoser and Abydos. Could these lower chambers have been part of an ancient hydraulic or resonance system designed to harness natural forces rather than serve as tombs? Abydos too hides its share of mysteries. Beneath the Osirian, the megalithic underground temple at the rear of Seti Wawal's mortuary complex, lie hidden storage rooms and passages that remain partly flooded today. The Assyrian Cyclopean architecture, with granite blocks weighing up to 100 tons, seems far older than the pharaoh it's attributed to. When explorers first entered it in the early 1900s, they found the structure buried under meters of sand and water, suggesting it had been built during an era when the water table was much higher, possibly thousands of years earlier. The newly found chamber beneath Djoser bears striking similarities to the Osirian's layout, right down to its smooth, granite-like finish and inexplicable acoustic properties. At Saqqara, hundreds of meters of subterranean galleries once stored mummified animals, sacred artifacts, and sarcophagi. The most famous of these, the Serapeum, houses 24 massive granite boxes, each weighing over 70 tons. But new radar scans suggest these galleries continue far deeper than previously thought, connecting with other unknown chambers beneath the necropolis. Could the newly discovered room be part of this vast interconnected system, a hidden layer beneath layers, designed to store or protect something of immense importance? Recent LiDAR mapping of the Djoser complex supports that idea. Beneath the step pyramid's main shaft, which itself drops more than 90 feet, lies a network of side corridors radiating outward like spokes of a wheel. Some lead to unfinished rooms, others to small niches filled with alabaster fragments and pottery. But the new chamber sits outside this pattern, directly beneath the pyramid's western edge, where no burials or offerings have been recorded. Its geometry appears deliberate, a perfect rectangle aligned precisely with the cardinal points, just like the pyramids themselves. Inside, archaeologists found nothing. No coffin, no statue, no tools. Only silence, and an atmosphere so still it seemed preserved in time. Even the air was different, dry, cool, almost metallic. A small pit at the center of the floor hinted at something once anchored there, perhaps a sarcophagus, a pedestal, or even a mechanical structure now long removed. Micro-drone scans revealed hairline grooves across the stone floor, straight and parallel, as though cut by an unknown tool. It's possible the chamber was never finished, or that it was built for a purpose we no longer understand. Some researchers believe these underground spaces were designed not as tombs, but as temples of creation, places where priests reenacted the myth of rebirth, or perhaps conducted experiments involving sound, water, and energy. At Djoser, the entire step pyramid complex was a symbolic map of the cosmos, representing the king's ascent from the underworld to the heavens. Could this vast hidden chamber represent the literal underworld, the physical foundation of that spiritual journey? What makes this discovery truly remarkable is that it bridges Egypt's oldest and most mysterious structures. The unfinished chamber under Giza, the flooded halls of Abydos, and the hidden tunnels of Saqqara all point to an ancient tradition of building downward, not upward. The ancients may have believed that power, spiritual or otherwise, came from beneath the earth itself. For now, the Hall of Echoes remains sealed again, protected until further study. Laser mapping and 3D reconstruction will allow scientists to analyze its symmetry and possible connections to other structures without disturbing the fragile rock. But one thing is certain: Egypt's greatest mysteries are not only in its towering pyramids, but in the dark, narrow tunnels beneath them, where explorers crawl through openings barely wide enough to breathe, only to emerge into rooms vast enough to hold a monument. And perhaps the truth about how the ancients built a civilization that still defies us today. Squeezing through a tunnel barely 20 inches high, those explorers proved that the most astonishing discoveries are often hidden just out of sight. But sometimes, the real mystery is not buried underground. it's sitting in plain view. High on a hill stands a single stone weighing 1,200 tons, and no one can explain how it got there.
High in the ancient hills of Baalbek, Lebanon, lies a stone so massive it defies belief. It weighs more than 1,200 tons, nearly as heavy as 3 Boeing 747s, and yet, impossibly, it was carved, shaped, and positioned more than 2,000 years ago. This is the stone of the pregnant woman, one of the heaviest objects ever quarried by human hands. But here's the mystery. It was never moved. It still rests where ancient builders left it, half buried in the earth, as if time itself refused to finish what they started. How did a civilization with no cranes, no steel, and no modern machinery carve and transport megaliths of such staggering weight? And what exactly were they building that required stones of this size? The answer might connect to one of the most awe-inspiring ancient temples ever constructed, and to a secret engineering legacy that continues to puzzle experts to this day.
Archaeologists have long been captivated by Baalbek, a place described in Roman records as Heliopolis, the city of the sun. Today, it's a landscape of monumental ruins, towering columns, weathered stone platforms, and the remains of temples so vast that even modern builders would struggle to recreate them. But it's what lies beneath the Roman splendor that sparks the greatest intrigue.